Yeah, trendsetter, whoa, league of my own, it don't get better. No, read what I wrote, I'm a bestseller. Yeah, reach for my goals, hit it dead center, hit it dead center. Bullseye, hit it the most, is no misses. Something like fish in a barrel, it's no different. Blindfold on me, I still got the most vision.
How are you, sir? I'm good. How are you?
I'm alright, thanks. Yeah, walked the dog today, went to the gym. It's a very slow session. Got an Uber there and back just so I could manage it, but I got on and cracked all my 6 sets, whatever it was, and upper body, so I'm still quite pumped.
What were you doing a deadlift at the weekend?
I thought, sod it. So one, I wanted to win something. 2, I thought, well, I wanted to try and set a standard for myself. I knew I wasn't going to hit a PB, but I was like, if I can do my body weight for 1 repetition this year with a failed back surgery in the worst pain condition in the world, if I can do the same next year under worse circumstances, as I generally will deteriorate, even better. And if I get more than 100 next year, which I think I can, maybe, even better. So it's a win-win situation. The thing is, I have the strength to lift it, but I don't have the strength to lower it at the very bottom portion, so I have to just drop the weight.
Yeah.
And it's not something I'm going to add to my training routine. I'm not going to prime myself for it. I'm not going to learn the technique.
Yeah.
It's more of just a one-off sort of thing. A bit like the bodybuilding thing for you. Like, you might not now do posing practice, but, you know, push come to shove sort of thing. If you ever look to compete again, you'd sort of whack on a pair of trunks, whatever, and get on with it.
Yeah. Well, your back looks amazing without the deadlifts. Anyway, everybody keeps on saying that you need to do deadlifts to have a big back, but from what I've seen, your back looks sick.
Yeah, I've never had any negative feedback from judges about my back development personally. We always need more. It's not an issue, if that makes sense. But yeah, I'm literally doing 3 sets per week for back. So I'm doing my Monday's my upper body session, Wednesday's my lower, Saturday's my full body. Doing 2 sets for back on an upper body session. So I'm doing a pull down and a row, like a cable row sort of thing. Then on the Saturday session, I'm doing 1 set of pull downs.
Yeah.
I'm 3 sets per week.
Yeah, I'm the same as well. Like one day I'll do like pull downs. Like, say if I was I only train like 4 days a week now, but when I used to train a muscle part twice a week, I used to do like width on one day, and then I would do a thickness on the other day. I would only do like 2 movements, 3 movements for width. It'd be mostly pull downs, maybe a pull up, something like that. And then on my other day, I never did anything bent over, so I always used to do something supported, like a T-bar row on a bench or something like that. But yeah, that's how I did it. But at the moment now, I'm only doing 4 days a week now. I'm only doing pretty much, I still stick to a push-pull leg. And then on my last day, then I just pretty much do an upper body session. I find that I can't recover as much as I used to when I was a lot younger. I think when I train every single day, when I train 6 days a week, it's too taxing on my body, because I train like you. I train very, very heavy. I train intense. And I want to listen to my body. My body's telling me, like, listen, okay, I'm growing very, very well. Everything's working really, really perfectly well. Any more than that is just going to mess it all up for me. And I'm pretty sure in the last year, I've actually gained a lot more muscle, which is good. That's how I know I'm actually progressing very well.
It's probably, yeah. We just tried to maintain my strength metrics throughout the last show. So, for example, on each of my sessions, it'll be like a motivation, training performance, and enjoyment. So these sort of things cover it. And if you're not enjoying your session, you're not going to be able to give your all into it.
Absolutely, 100%. Yeah, 100%. If you're not walking into the gym and you're excited to lift, then you might as well just go straight back home.
That's it. Yeah. Some days I have to travel to the gym, and I find like sometimes I'm like, it's raining, feel a bit sore, things are a bit tight, I don't feel like I'm that hydrated, sort of thing. We need a bit more time before I get in the gym. Push comes to shove, and I've just got a limited sort of schedule. Then I'll get in there. Once I've done the first set, I'm ready to go.
Yeah, but you know what I find? I find I need to wake up at least 40 minutes, maybe an hour, to get my mindset switched on before I go to the gym. Because I go to the gym pretty much when the gym opens at 5 a.m. And for me to get my head in the right frame of mind, even when I step out of the car, before I step out of the car, I have to, in my head, vision what I'm going to be doing. So the minute I go into the gym, I'm planning, I'm going for attack, the earphones are on, don't piss me off, don't come near me. until my gym session is over.
I think that's why a lot of people have to do warm-ups and things so much in the gym, because they'll finish work, they'll be like, oh, finish work at, say, 5 o'clock. They'll have a little snack, like a protein bar, like typically people have that sort of thing, maybe rice cakes, I don't know, cereal, whatever it is. They'll go to the gym, they actually be in the gym at 6, but they've not had any time to sort of switch off from work, transition to the next phase of attack. So that's why I think they're doing so many warm-up sets. By the time they actually got to the main set, it's like, you've been here for 15 minutes already and you've not attacked it, because they don't have that time for imagery.
Absolutely. And if you're going in and you're not thinking about the workout and you're still thinking about all the stress from work, that's when you're more prone to get an injury.
Yeah, bang on.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, I think, yeah, my mindset wouldn't be the same training at, say, 7 o'clock at night versus I train about half 10, 11.
Like I couldn't do an 8-hour shift and then go straight into training. It wouldn't work for me. If I was working an 8-hour shift, I would go to a 24-hour gym, because my mind, the minute I get up in the morning, my mindset is switched on. It's like, okay, I'm ready to attack now. I'm ready to get my workout done. And I want to go into the gym when I'm feeling my best. And for me, I just feel so much better when I go into the gym first thing in the morning. It's just psychological. Get it out of the way. It's like first thing in the morning, just get it out of the way. Whereas, but like you, if I had an 8-hour shift, the amount of stress from work, taking that stress into like another stressful environment, as I said, you're more prone to getting seriously injured then.
Yeah. Walk me through like your day then. So it's a training day. Say it's I don't know, your upper body session. Say it's like 4:30 in the morning, whatever your alarm goes off or whatever you do. Tell me what happens from the moment you wake up. Do you chat with the missus? Do you just go straight to the gym? Do you have a cup of coffee first? What do you do?
When I get up in the morning, so I get up pretty much most mornings at around 4 o'clock, 3:30 at a push. And what I'll do is I'll visualize, I'll sit on the chair and I'll visualize, I'll do a bit of meditation of exactly what I'm going to do in the gym. So I'm getting myself angry, I'm getting myself ready. So when I go into the gym, so when I go into the car, I put on my favorite music. I'm not thinking about anything else. I'm not thinking about the family. I'm not thinking about work. I'm just thinking about, okay, I'm driving to the gym. This is going to be a 45-minute session to 60 minutes. I'm not leaving the gym without any regrets. So that's basically how I live my life. When I'm going to the gym, I'm saying, okay, this is my one shot to be great for the whole day. Go into the gym and make sure you don't waste it. And then when I have that mindset, I just feel powerful. I feel strong. I can't explain it, but I feel great. So those lifts that I do, like I'm not missing. I'm like when I get to that stage where I'm lifting the weight off the ground or I'm pulling something or I'm pushing something, in my mind, I'm like, okay, I'm not just pushing the weight here. I'm using my muscles. So I'm going to make sure that my muscle has failed. And as long as I do one set to failure and I know I've given that set absolutely everything, then I'm going to move on to the next exercise. I think a lot of people think that they need to do too much jump volume in the gym. In my mind, if I'm going into the gym and all I have to do is just 6 exercises, then all I'm thinking is 6 exercises, 6 sets or 1 set of each to failure, job done, walk out of the gym. That's it, done.
I think that's the human element that is forgotten about in like scientific studies. Like everyone spends so long nowadays trying to piss around, farting around, trying to work out, oh, this is the optimal split with this many sets, this much time detention, this much weight, this warm up, this intensifier, this frequency. And it's like your body's dynamic. You can't
exactly.
Like, when we're working with my coach Marty Rice from South Coast Powerhouse, when we're doing the check-ins, we're not looking at the week as a whole. We're looking at the session by session by session.
Exactly. Yeah.
As I'm doing 3 sessions per week with 5, 6, 7 sets per session, like total. I've got, I don't know, maybe up to 20 sets per week of opportunities.
Yeah.
So it could be opportunities to fail, or opportunities to succeed.
Yeah.
So if then I say flunk up 2 sets because I'm chatting to someone, I don't have my head in the game, I've not like warmed up correctly by putting the exercise in the right position for me as an individual, I fucked it. So I don't leave that margin for error. So I can keep my headphones on, just train the gym.
Absolutely.
I chat to people at the start and at the end, just because if you're a muscular guy in a gym, You know, like you probably know, like people want to talk to you, which is fine.
Yeah.
But you give them that time of day, that grace, starting in the gym. It sounds a bit like egotistical, like, you know, this is my time. But the thing is, it is my time. You know, the
But
same with
not,
you.
not only that, like I get easily distracted. So let's say I'm doing a chest press on a machine. Like I have to be in the zone. I have to be in the zone to go after that main set. Now, if someone walks past me, I can easily get distracted. I can say, okay, I'm losing it now. So in my mind, okay, I always close my eyes or I always look down, because in my mind, I'm just thinking about that set. I'm not thinking about anything else. So I'm putting my earphones on. Now I won't go into that set until I'm 100% ready. So if I need an extra minute or 2 minutes, I'll say, right, I'll take it. So I'm listening to my body. So let's say after the first exercise, let's say I do a shoulder movement, like a barbell shoulder press or something like that, and I took that to complete failure. And because I've done that pressing movements, I know on my second movement, if I go straight into that, I'm not going to be as strong because I've already fatigued the muscle. So I need to make sure, okay, listen to your body, take that a little bit of time that you need, and then go and attack that set. And that's what I always do. And how I know I'm progressing is I always have my logbook with me. So I'm looking at it and I'm saying, okay, this is the form. This is the exact same form I did last week. I did it like a 4-second negative and probably a 1-second explosive rep. I need to say, okay, I'm going to do the exact same this week. But if I got 7 reps last week, if I can get the exact same form, but I got to 8 reps, that way I know I'm progressing. People think that if I'm adding more weight to the bar and I'm getting more reps and you're moving the weight with shitty form, that doesn't mean you're getting better at the exercise. You have to look at, okay, how are you moving the weight? So I don't know how you do it, but in my logbook, I have to make sure everything is written down. I have to look at, okay, exactly, okay, I'm counting my sets. So let's say it takes about 6 seconds for each rep. So like it's like I push the weight up for 1 second, a 4-second drop. Then at the bottom, I'm holding for 1 second, and then I'm continue to set. For every single rep, I'm doing the exact same thing. So I'm not thinking about I'm moving the weight from A to B. In my mind, I'm working the muscle. So I'm saying, okay, how do I move the weights? How am I going to initiate the chest? So when I bring the weight down, okay, I'm saying, okay, and I'm in this static position, the sticky position. Now, how do I activate the chest? So I need to make sure I'm activating the chest first before I actually push the weight out. Does that make sense? So I want to make sure that before anything else, the muscle is given out before the weight does. So that's why I don't focus too much on how much I'm actually lifting. I only focus on what I'm doing to the muscle. And I only work in between. I don't go any higher than 12. I don't really focus on reps, but I try and keep my reps in between 8 and 10, maybe 8 and 12 max. If I'm doing like a heavy day, let's say I want to do like my weakness is my chest. So for me, I try and not go any higher than 8 reps. So I focus more on pretty much what Barclay tells us to do. Do 2 sets of 8, don't go any higher than that, and really lift as heavy as possible. But what I do is I still lift as heavy as I possibly can, what I can lift, but I just make sure that I'm lifting the weight the way I should be lifting the weight. I'm not focusing on my ego. I know I can lift a lot more, but I know I can get injured doing it that way as well. Does that make sense?
Yeah. So what metric are you using to standardize your set, whether that be objective or subjective? So you're going to the gym, you're hitting a set of chest press. Obviously, you said to me you're doing like, what, 8, 10, 12 reps, something like that. How are you standardizing your actual reps? Do you video your stuff? What do you do?
Sometimes I do. Sometimes I do. But I'm at a stage now where I'm pretty much, I'm an expert at what I'm doing now. So I do the same exercises a week. I don't change up my routine unless I get to a stage where I'm getting bored with it. But I've been doing the same routine. I'm on the same exercise. I'm on the same equipment all the time. And how I know, so let's say a year ago, I'd look at the weight, I'd look at my logbook and say, okay, you lifted 40 kg on a chest press, and now a year later, I'm lifting 80 kg with the exact same form. That's how I know I'm progressing. That's how I know I'm getting bigger. And when I know that I'm getting stronger and my body's demanding more, that's when I give my body more fuel. because my body's telling me, okay, listen, if I'm building more muscle, then you need to add more fuel in. And that's where I focus on, okay, that's where I'm at a stage now where I can get away with eating a lot more food and not putting on too much weight because I've actually built the muscle mass to help me going forward.
That's it, yeah. What I do personally, Mark, is I actually count my seconds of my sets. And I record my stuff intermittently, so I don't record every set. But say, for example, I know that hamstrings might be a weak point. Okay, well, I'm going to pay more attention to that. I'm going to give myself more headspace, more mental time to think about that set. So it might mean before and after that set, I'll actually spend a bit longer just navigating it through my mind. So imagery, imagining I'm doing the set before I do it. That will start pretty much at the end of my last session. So today I did upper body, my next session's legs on Wednesday. I'm already thinking my hamstrings are a weak point that I'm training on Wednesday. So I plug it in the right way. So I'm, doing that as my first exercise and that sort of thing. I'm choosing the right exercises that feel good for me. I'm already thinking about what I'm doing that time, but also log any sort of mistakes that I make in the previous session. So what I do is I record this. So my sessions, like yours, will look the same, Monday, Wednesday, Saturday. Generally speaking, I don't really change anything unless something needs to be changed. That'll be indicated by my performance markers, my recovery markers, how I feel. If, for example, I know if I was doing triceps 3 times per week, and I knew my elbows really sore, and I'm not improving in weight, I obviously need to reduce that somehow, or I need to change exercise. So you should do the least abrasive, least intensive thing first to manipulate my training. So for me, that might be, well, the exercise isn't working because it's giving me sore joints. Maybe the frequency's fine because my muscle fibers aren't really sore. I don't have DOMs.
Yeah,
I need to change exercise. So rather than doing a cable push down, for example, 3 times a week, maybe I'll do a cable push down, a rope push down, then I'll do a dip. So I'll manipulate the exercise, but the principle remains the same. So am I getting stronger? Yes. Am I getting stronger? No. Sometimes we have like intermittent flukes where we can, get a massive weight increase, and I'll write that down in my notes section next to the exercise. Say 1 set tricep push downs, 32 kilos, 90-second set, and say, I don't know, elbow sore. And if I notice that week after week session of suffering is keep saying elbow sore, bam, there's the bottleneck. We found it. That's why tracking these things is important. So yes, it's more work, but if more work means more results, we're going to do it. So that's why people like us come in as coaches to look at these variables, people, so they don't have to think about it. They just have to execute what's in the plan.
And that's exactly how I do it, and that's exactly how I coach it. Because there's going to be an exercise that's not going to suit your body. So for me, I could never do like bench press. I find that for my body, it suits me better to do machines or even cables because I feel the muscle working a lot better. Now, I'm not saying you shouldn't do bench press. If it suits you, go ahead and do it. But for me, you can't really fail on a barbell bench press, in my opinion. I think a barbell bench press is mainly for strength. I think you need a spotter behind you if you're going to go to complete and utter failure. Whereas when you're using a cable machine or you're using a machine, not only is it safer because you're moving the weight, you're only just stacking it up, and you don't need a spotter. You know what I mean? So that's how I do it as well. I need to find out, okay, what suits your body. And for most people, it's usually like cables, it's usually machines. I know people will say that compounds are the foundation of anybody's exercise program, and I'm not going to argue with that.
I will.
You need to, but a lot of people will say that, okay, you need that for like to grow muscle. You and I know it's complete rubbish. There'll be a lot of people out there that are a lot bigger than us, and we'll have a different argument on that. So I'll leave people to what they'll do. But for me, I've done the bench press before. I've done the deadlifts. I've done the squats, and for me, they actually caused me more harm than anything else. Whereas I can get the same connection on a leg press than what I would get in a squat, and I can go to failure on it perfectly without damaging myself.
I agree. Yeah, I think the issue with the full body movements, the compound D barbell stuff, like we mentioned, the big three. A lot of people can't execute them correctly. I'm not saying this like I can do them all perfectly. No, I'm saying they're so hard to execute correctly with enough intensity. Like you said, so you're just not good. That's going to be a bottleneck. It's going to be stability aspect. The other joints come into play. So what we typically find with bodybuilders, professional bodybuilders, is that over time they gravitate more towards, you know, incline chest press with this machine, this angle, this seat position. Because when they started, maybe they started with a compound chest press, a bench press or something.
Yeah.
The other issue I find is that because you can't, how to put it, there's too much to go wrong, if it's, especially if someone's starting. So the only reason, personally, outside of in regards to bodybuilding training, that I'd say someone use a compound movement is one, seamless to fatigue ratio. So it might mean for them, I've got a full-time job, I've got 20 minutes to train legs. What can I do?
Yeah.
You're probably going to end up doing a squat of some sort rather than a leg extension and leg curl.
Yeah.
You can get more bang for your buck. You can do quite a few sets. You can put the spotter arms out. You can't go to failure, but you know, not everywhere has this sort of gym. But I do refer sometimes to these sort of movements, like with the barbell, as being quite primitive, because we started off with those machines, you know, those apparatus, 100 years ago. Eugene Sandow, people like that. You know, they're holding a barbell, lifting it up, putting it on their back,
Exactly.
lifting it. This didn't have a squat rack.
Yeah.
We added the squat rack.
Yeah.
Now we added the squat rack with the Smith machine.
Yeah.
We had the Smith machine. Now we put the Smith machine onto a machine, so we can move it within a certain arc.
Exactly.
So we've adapted over time. So I think it'd be ignorant to say that get the best bang for your buck with those sort of movements when we've actually got a dedicated gym piece of equipment to do something more specialized. But most people won't be able to realize or understand what specialization they need because they haven't executed the foundations of recruiting the muscle fibers that are trying to work in the movement.
Exactly.
So, for example, I'll just make one more point, and that's about a squat, for example. So, if say Mark, you're an absolute novice, you've never been to the gym before, whatever. I said, all right, we're going to train legs today. I'm just going to watch you. I'm not going to tutor you or guide you. I'm not going to train you. I say, do a leg extension to failure. I'll plonk you on the machine to say, this is what we need to do.
Yeah.
You watch me do it, and then you get on with it. Then I plonk you on, say, a squat. You're going to snap right up on that squat, and you're not going to be able to listen enough intensity to get the development you need.
Yeah.
And if I say keep lifting your legs up like that on a leg extension until they burn like fuck,
Yeah.
you're going to be able to just keep going. You're going to feel that burn. It's going to hurt, and you might think it's damaging, but at least you've got to that close proximity of failure. Whereas with a squat, people aren't going to do a full range of squat. They're going to bend at the hips inappropriately. There's too much to go wrong.
Yeah.
So that's why if someone's training, you have to have a PT or trainer.
Absolutely. And I completely agree with you, because when you look at like a standard squat, you might do the first 2 reps perfect. But then as you do the 3rd, 4th, 5th, like you said, you're going to use other muscle parts. And this is where people, then they bend over, like they use other muscle parts to move the weight. Whereas if you're on a leg press, a stationary leg press, it's only going from one angle to another. That's it. And like you said, if someone comes to me and says to me, Mark, I only have 20 minutes in the gym, I'm thinking in my head, okay, how can I make this leg session really, really tough in the least amount of time possible? So I won't get them on a squat because they're not going to be able to fail on a squat. So I'll be getting them to do like leg extensions, like reverse lunges, like stuff like that. That's going to be really, really challenging on the legs. So I'll be saying, okay, listen, you've got 20 minutes. We're gonna fire the hamstrings up on a hamstring curl. We'll do a couple of warm-up sets, and then we'll get straight into it. And then your legs are firing. You're ready to go. Go straight over into your reverse lunges. I want you to do a few warm-ups, then get into that main set, and then out of the gym. If you do those 2 sets, main sets to complete failure, that's a workout. Trust me, because reverse lunges on a bench are horrendous, absolutely horrendous. But you're working pretty much everything on the legs. So that's where I'm focusing. I'm saying, okay, if I'm taking the squat out and you're working pretty much the majority of the leg muscles from a squat, how can I actually change that to a different exercise that's going to be equally as challenging, but it's not going to cause any damage at all? It's not going to limit. It's not going to. You're not going to hurt yourself. You're not going to get injured doing it. So I'm thinking, okay, maybe the gym is packed. We can't use the equipment. The leg press has been used. So what do we do instead of just waiting for the leg press to be for someone to come off it? No, I'm saying, okay, grab a set of dumbbells. We're going to the back room. We're going to get a bench, and we're going to start doing something like this. You're still going to get an unbelievable leg workout out of it.
That's exactly what I'd be doing. If I was at hotel gym, all I've got is some dumbbells. I'm doing push-ups, feet elevated, feet flat, different angles, maybe 1 or 2 sets of that. I'm trying to find some way of doing like an inverted row for my upper back. Personally, I wouldn't really train a deadlift because of my injuries and stuff. I'd find some way to do some sort of leg workout as well. If there's no weights and I need enough weight load to create enough stimulus, then I'm going to be doing a split squat, something one leg at a time, slow controlled movement. I might pre-exhaust as well, like you said. So maybe I'll do a split squat, or I'll do walking lunges. Then I'll do a bodyweight squat, really, really slow, just holding some dumbbells, 10 up, 10 down, something like that. I might only get 4 reps, but I'm going to be sweating like mad at the end of it. My legs going to be shaking and be lying on the floor.
Yeah.
So I might do some set of crunches or something to top up. But that's largely it, isn't it, really? It's just finding the right routine. But the thing is, that's why people like us, Mark, we can't create a perfect routine. There's no such thing. So when I create someone a coaching plan, a training plan, I understand that within the first 2 weeks, maybe half of people will want some adaptation. So it might be say, for example, the pull down. Maybe that grip doesn't work for them. Maybe it irritates their triceps. I don't know. We'll change the grip, underhand. They're perfect. They're brilliant. They're excelling each week.
Exactly.
So sometimes it's not a case of just revamping the whole thing. Sometimes we just make one little tweak. Whatever the bottleneck is to prevent the person from improving is what's going to be changed.
Yeah.
We don't need to spice things up. We just need a plan that works. We can measure it, track it, manage it, and find out where the improvements are coming from.
Yeah, and I'm the same. Like I usually have women that are doing a lat pull down, and even though you teach them as many how to do it and use the elbows to put it down, they still can't feel it. So it's like, okay, what do I do here? So I just say, okay, move your arms in a little bit closer. Just bring them in a little bit closer and flare your elbows out a small bit. And this time, what I want you to do is I don't want you to grab the bar. I just want you to put your 4 fingers on the bar. And then I want you to pull down with the elbow. And then straight away, they're like, oh my God, I can actually feel my lats now. So it's a matter, not everybody, it's not, a movement in the gym is not going to suit everybody. This is where I went back to the bench press and other things in the gym. Like same with a squat. When I'm dealing with people that are older, like people can't squat properly. So it's like, okay, before I actually get you doing a squat in the gym, I want to see how you actually sit down on a chair. So the chair needs to be at, like, say, your calf heights. Now I want you to sit down on the chair, and then I want you to stand back up. That's all I want you to do. A lot of people make an absolute mess of it because they're bending over, they're keeping their back arched, they're looking up. You can clearly see where they're going to hurt themselves. So it's like, okay, I cannot put you onto a barbell squat until I nail this first of all. You know what I mean? I can't put you onto a chest press machine if you can't activate the chest properly. So a lot of people will keep their elbows up really, really high, like shoulder height, and they're pushing their weight up and they're damaging their rotator cuff. It's like, okay, well, hang on a second. Drop your elbows down a small bit. And now what I want you to do is not focus on moving the weight. I want you to activate the chest. So when you get to that sticky point at the bottom, okay, I don't want you to bounce out of that movement, like coming down and then bounce out of it. I want you to bring it down, pause there. Now what do you need to do? Activate the chest, push the chest forward. So once they learn how to do that, then we can move the weight a little bit faster because they know what they need to do. But once they start getting sloppy again, they're saying, okay, well, I didn't feel that. And then you look at their form and you're like, okay, well, you're getting sloppy because you're moving the weight too quickly. Whereas what I taught you a few weeks ago was perfect. So we need to go back to that. So get rid of the ego and just move the weight the way I showed you. That's all you need to do.
Yeah. When people see me in the gym, there's absolutely no ego at all. I'm not. What if you saw me in the gym and someone like filmed it? It's not going to be on like Machiavelli, motivation, bodybuilding. It's so slow, but it's methodical. It's just what I need to do. So I think what we're sort of preaching here, it makes sense. We're not trying to tell people this is the correct program, but we do need to have to understand and be able to underpin the principles that we need. So, like I said, does the movement kind of work, or is it that you're long at the elbows? You got some sort of unusual structure. Is there a better machine in the gym you can use?
Yes.
It might not be optimal, but it just has to work for you.
Yeah.
I was speaking to someone on the weekend, one of my friends at the old gym, and we just talking about training and stuff and injuries because I was walking around a bit crippled sort of thing, and he sort of talked about my sort of split. I said to him, "What do you think my split's like?" And he's like, "I don't know, but I bet it's really, really weird and all over the place and doesn't really make sense and wouldn't look optimal." And I was like, "That's exactly it." So if I was in a better physical state, my technique, my training plan, structure of it would be more optimal.
Yeah.
But it's just what we have to do. So forget all this about, if we're doing, say, a push day, we've got to do chest first and shoulders and triceps, and it's got to be that.
Yeah.
Well, that's who.
Yeah.
Why can't we do a chest exercise, shoulder exercise, a chest exercise, and triceps?
Yeah.
And if our triceps are gash, my triceps are crap. Triceps and hamstrings is probably my weaker body parts, personally. Or maybe, is it because that I'm tired before I train them? If I can't concentrate as much, I'm more fatigued later in the session.
Yeah.
But, okay, do I plug the tricep movement further forward where I've got more energy?
Yeah.
It's not
And
optimal, but
and it's the same with the legs. Like why people go into the gym and focus on doing squats at the start of their workout? Like you're going to fatigue yourself. Your CNS system is going to be fucked. Like,
we had this conversation before with the other bodybuilder we know.
Yeah.
And one of the coaches online in our space, we're saying like, yeah, definitely don't put your squat first, mate. That's, especially if you've got back issues.
Absolutely.
That's the worst thing to do.
It doesn't make any sense at all because you're going to lose strength pretty much at the very, very beginning. You're going to fatigue yourself. You're going to be exhausted. So everything else after that is going to just go downhill. So it's like, okay, if I was to program a squat in somebody's plan, I'd probably put the squat in probably the third or fourth exercise. I need to make sure the legs are firing. They're feeling very, very good. Everything feels really, really good. Your flexibility is good. Your mobility is very, very good. And before I even attempt the squats. But if you're coming in out of a cold day or you've had a stressful day and you're going straight into a squat,
it's not happening.
It's not going to work very well. Trust me.
It can take people different amounts of time as well to sort of graduate and warm up into something. So for me personally, leg press first would be a terrible idea.
Yeah.
The weight I'd use would be beyond what the weight stack on in the gym can actually hold. It'd be too much weight. I'm not chasing weight. I'm using weight as a marker, a metric to track. If I by happenstance get stronger, that's a good indicator I'm getting bigger.
Exactly.
What I use is time and attention. So I make that 150 kg, whatever it is, feel like 300. Yeah. So by the time that I'm finished that set, what doesn't matter if it said 50 on the machine. My muscles don't know; they can't count.
Exactly.
Same with like calories. My body doesn't count calories. It counts mass. We have the mass of food that we take in, goes through the mitochondria, and it pumps out chemical energy, which we can't measure.
Yeah.
There's no way for us to actually measure it walking about a normal day. Same thing's true with other measurements we use, which is why I personally don't track reps with my clients. We all use time and attention. Just because I'm very specified. The people I work with, they've got a lot of times injuries, things like that, hip issues, joint issues. So tracking reps, I mean, if you're doing 10 reps, but the last 2 reps just killed you, but I know that you can do 100 seconds of worth of repetitions. And I know that every single second of that counted because you had good form, because you standardise your technique up and down, 5 up, 5 down, whatever it is. Injury risk is lower. You've got a much more specified, standardised way to track your progression in the gym. So I know if someone's logging their workout and saying 3 sets of 10, well, how long does the first set last? And say they happen to count it, 60 seconds, second set, 50 seconds, third set, 20 seconds.
Yeah.
It's not a good way of quantifying what work they've done. Whereas if I've said, okay, we're going to do 3 sets, hypothetically, and each set is like, you'll say like 94 seconds, 82 seconds, then I know the third set they're dropping off to like 50. but they've got DOMs that are really high that day, the muscles are sore, and they're not improving week to week or session to session or whatever time frame I have based on their level of advancement, whether they're intermediate, novice, or elite sort of thing. That easily tells me, okay, we need to drop that third set because the third set is impacting recovery to the point they can't get better for the next session because we don't get better in the gym.
Exactly.
We get better when we're outside the gym recovering.
Yeah. And there's a few points I want to make. First of all, like the muscle has no idea how much weight you're lifting. Like you said, the muscle only knows tension. So I could easily give someone, say, a dumbbell row in the gym, and they could probably lift, like, say, 50 kgs, no problem. Just moved away from A to B with shitty form. I know I can make that exercise really, really tough with just lifting 15 kg, just moving the weight slowly. Like, I've done it many, many times. I've seen people, I've seen young kids in the gym lifting the weight and just pushing the weight from A to B, just shitty form. And I walk up to them and say, okay, listen, put that weight over there. I want you to pick up the 15s. I want you to bring it over here to me, and I want to show you how to do this. So what I do is I'll tip the muscle where they're going to use. I'll say, right, okay, what I want you to do is I want you to lock in. Get your elbows in position, grab the weight. This is what I want you to do. Now I want you to move it in this position. Within 1 rep, they can feel the muscle straight away. It's like, holy shit, I can actually feel this. Most people won't actually feel the muscle until probably rep 7, rep 8. I made sure that everybody feels the rep the muscle after 1 rep. So that's the first point I want to make. The second point I want to make is when you talk about 3 sets, I'll say you're doing 3 sets of 10. In my mind, if you're doing 3 sets of 10, you're wasting energy before you get to that main set. So if you're, let's say you're lifting a weight and you do 20, let's say we'll focus on the dumbbell row. So let's say you're doing a dumbbell row, you do 20 kg, you do a set of 10. Your next set, you lift it up, you do 25, you do a set of 10. But it's a set of 10. By the time you get to that 3rd set and you lift 30 kgs, your muscles are already fatigued. So it's like, okay, why did I waste too much energy on the first 2 sets when I should have been wasting the most amounts of energy on that main set? So that's why when we talk about the warm-ups, it's like, what are you trying to do here? Are you just trying to activate the muscle, or are you trying to exhaust the muscle? If you're trying to exhaust the muscle, well, then do what everybody else does and just go into the gym and do 3 or 4 sets of warm-ups. By the time you get to that 4th set, you're not going to be able to put that much effort into it. You know what I mean?
Yeah, the concentration level goes to shit. I mean, I want to address 2 things in the chat box, so give me a few seconds to just go over it. But I would say Ben Pekulski was someone that actually taught me something years ago. And he sort of said, most people can train with about 6 sets of absolute intense, technical muscular failure per session. I thought that's bollocks. I'm doing 20 sets. No, I wasn't doing 20 sets of failure. I was doing 20 sets of crap. And I was doing it for years.
Just wait, yeah.
I want to bring some attention, actually. Wait. I want to bring some attention here because I really need to do this. Because so Jerome's actually in the chat right now. So Rational Muscle. So Jerome Armstrong, who I wrote the ebook with, the Beef Up Carnivore Bodybuilding Bible, and he actually taught me this. He's the person that revolutionized my training program and how I train off people now. We have way more success per unit of time, per unit of energy at each person I'm working with is training in the gym. They get way more benefit from it. They don't get injured either. The only injuries they really have are RSI from like their job, or if they're working with a lot of people that are always on planes that are flying about, business meetings and things. They'll get stuck in, that seated 90-degree knee bend, or sat right upright. They've not got good flexibility because they're sat so long each day. So I encourage a lot of active movement and a lot of active recovery as well. We've actually got a question in the chat. I don't know if you want to sort of answer this first, Mark. So it's from Mountain Guide 281. It says, hey, what if you start with a squat and you don't get fatigued after, though?
I
He's
would
had a
say,
different experience, basically.
I would say probably, okay, if you're not getting fatigued, I'm pretty sure you're not working hard enough. That'd be my first question. But if you're not, like, it depends. Like, and not everybody's going to be the same. But I just personally believe that you will never be able to go to failure on a barbell squat. Unless you have a spotter, you might think you're going to failure. But like for me, I always fail on the negative. So if I'm doing like a leg press, I'm failing on the way down. I'm not failing on that last rep pushing the weight up. So if you look at a barbell squat, if you're going down and you're at that sticking point and you're like, okay, I have 1 more rep here, So I just need to get it up. Okay, you don't have to rep, but what about the one on the way down? That's where you're going to get the most. That's where you're going to get the most strength. Sorry, that's where you're going to get the most gains. It's not the pushing part, it's the negative part. So you need to make sure that when you do it, like any kind of exercise, you fail always on the negative and not the positive part. So I'd be saying, okay, you're definitely not pushing yourself past failure. What do you think?
I think we've got some nuance here that I'd like to just discuss, and it's semantics really, but I'm saying this just for the point of discussion. So with failure, we've got what I define as 4 types of failure. We've got technical muscular failure, so that means, for example, you're doing a squat, you sort of stand upright, your muscles probably take more, but your balance is all over the place, racking it's dangerous. If you do another rep, that could hurt you. I'm going to define that as technical muscular failure. Concentric muscular failure, that's when you're sort of doing a chest press, when you get stuck. So no matter how hard you try and you're thinking about it, go forward, it's not going anywhere. Then you just lower it slowly. Concentric muscular failure. Next one, isometric or static muscular failure. So that's when you push it, you can no longer push it anymore, but also you can no longer hold it for any longer.
Yeah.
So that effectively that weight will actually lower you down just by default.
Yeah.
No matter how hard you resist against it, you have to lower it. The next phase would be eccentric. So that would be something which you would be lacking in a squat because the safety element, it's just hard to lift the weight as hard as you can, hold it for as long as you can, and lower it as slowly as possible under eccentric failure without cracking your back in half or dropping it. That's just the reality it is. So you cannot train to maximal level of intensity. Then the final layer, I guess, of muscular failure, I guess you say it's the 5th layer, that's absolute failure. So we don't want to go there. We can't really go there because it would kill us for most or a lot of movements. The exception might be a dumbbell curl. If you've got a good back, you might be able to use a force negative, something like that. It's when basically the weight basically drops out of your arm or off your back, or you can no longer stabilize the weight to the point where you're just stuck. It's going to kill you. So I think it's important to mention, it sounds pedantic, but it's important to mention what level of failure you're actually achieving. So for me, it's exercise specific. My back is wrecked. Doing something like a seated curl kibble row to eccentric muscular failure, the hardest degree of muscular failure would probably hurt me. So I don't train to failure, although to someone else's eye, it would look like it. Now, if it's moving like chest press, I'm sat in a machine, back supported, hips are fine. My only limitation is my chest, really, and elbows, shoulders, things like that. Yeah, I'm going to go until I can't hold it anymore or lower it any slower. That's eccentric muscular failure. So each degree of muscular failure will elicit a higher degree of fatigue on the body. But the issue is, can you recover from it? And how much level of failure do you need in order to elicit the adaptive response to build muscle from that set?
Exactly. Yeah.
That's the fun part in bodybuilding. That's the part we're always trying to play. So it's a moving target. It might mean that right now I just need to do 100 kg, 100 seconds, and do it until I can't hold it anymore. But if I'm doing that week after week after week, and my chest isn't growing, scale weight's not going up, something's not improving. Okay, what is it? I need to recover more. So maybe I'll actually reduce the intensity. So I just go until I can't hold it anymore, then just lower it slowly. And if that frees up that recovery capacity to build the muscle, it's good. We're winning. We're getting better.
Exactly. Yeah. Yeah, and like you said, like you're breaking down the muscle in the gym. You're not actually you're going to get the biggest benefit of what you do outside the gym. So you're breaking the muscle down, but you need to feed it. And if you're able to recover and you're making unbelievable progress, and you can clearly see the gains, and you can clearly see that your strength is going up, that's a good indicator that you're going the right direction. But like we mentioned at the very, very beginning, if you're getting to a stage where you don't like your workouts anymore, you're going to the gym and you're like, oh shit, I have to work out today. That's a sign that your body's fatigued. That's a sign that your body's breaking down. You should never get yourself into that stage. You should never be in a situation in the gym where you feel like you need to do tons and tons and tons of volume, because that's what's going to have a massive effect on your body. You should not be going into the gym and literally ruining yourself. I don't get this. You need to go into the gym, sweat, and absolutely destroy yourself. We need to get rid of that mentality. We need to get rid of the mentality that, okay, you need to lift away from A to B, because again, it's not going to work. You just need to go into the gym, stimulate the muscle, annihilate the muscle properly, and then walk out of the gym, and that's it. For me, I know when I go to failure when my body's shaking, when I can feel the muscle burning, and I just literally my arms are shaking. That's when I know when I can't move that weight in the range it's meant to go with perfect form, and I just cannot move it anymore. That's how I know, okay, that's it, I'm done. Now, if let's say I do a Latin movements, let's say I do a pull down, and let's say I do a single arm lat pull down, and I'm really targeting the lats, and I absolutely annihilate the lats. I'm thinking, okay, if I have annihilated the lats, why do I want to go onto another machine and do another lat exercise when I've actually annihilated the lats in the first place?
I see people do that for lats specifically. I do see people do a single arm row, for the lats sort of thing. Then they'll do a single arm row with the same sort of angle but with a machine. Then they'll do a single arm pull up or I'm like, how many single arm?
Exactly.
I know that they're trying to isolate things because they can't activate it, they can't see the muscle, it's a bit harder, whatever. Fair enough. But it's like we just done the same thing over and over again. Therefore, that skill set that you've applied to that one set is diluted because we're not training for sport-specific goals. We're not trained to become good at every single fucking pull down there is. We're using the right pull down that aggravates our joints the least, which we can improve from, the least amount of wear and tear on our body to get the most muscle growth. And for some people, that'll be a machine that has a funny arc. Some people will be more of a straight road. Depends how their back shape, what they want to develop in it, sort of thing. But these sort of things, we shouldn't be hopping around our sessions each time. We should be nailing the session what we do have for as long as possible. So Dorian Yates was right, like 20, 30 years ago. He did the same session for ever. Same with Ronnie Coleman. He did the same workout plan that Brian Dobson wrote him when he first started in the gym and when he got a free gym membership for competing in the show. He did that program for 20, 30 years.
And that's
back of all time.
That's what I said to you earlier on. I haven't changed my workout in well over a year. I do the exact same exercises every time I walk inside the gym. The exact same, but I'm getting better at them. That's what I'm focusing on. I'm not focusing on how much weight I'm lifting. Every time I go into the gym, I'm like, okay, how can I make this exercise better than last week? How can I move the weight better than what I did last week? That's all I'm thinking about. I'm not thinking about, I'm looking at my logbook and say, okay, I got 6 reps, but I'm looking at it and say, okay, before I get past that 6 reps, how can I make this exercise more challenging before I move up the weight? Because I could easily increase the weight and I could probably get very, very sloppy. Whereas I'm looking at it and saying, okay, I've nailed it all. How can I actually make this even tougher before I make that decision to increase the weight? That's what I'm looking at first. So I'm never one of these people that I have to change the weight every week. I have to look at, okay, like you said, maybe I'll time my set this time. Maybe instead of doing 4 seconds, I might do 5 seconds. You know what I mean? I might do 6 seconds. You know what I mean? There's many, many ways you can make the weight a lot harder. It's not about just going into the gym and adding progressive overload. I'm just thinking that I just need to add weight. I need to add weight after weight after weight. That the weight will come in time, guys. But if you want to get bigger, like you look at Jonathan. I spoke to last week. He looks a lot bigger now, and you can clearly see that he's doing a lot bigger now in the gym. So you can clearly see that with Jonathan, if you're going to learn anything, learn from this man, because you look at his pictures from a year ago and look at him now, he's a lot bigger. You know, and that's the advice.
It's literally the training and diet. There's nothing I did in the last year which is revolutionary apart from just become a better bodybuilder. So understanding my recovery better, tracking more metrics, being on top of my diet every single fucking day. There was times when I was looking in the off season, I was having like ground beef mince with some cheese and scrambled egg in it. I was thinking, is there a way I can like blend this to make it so I can drink it? Because I redlined my food capacity, how much I could eat. And what you can do then at that point sort of thing is you can scale back food for a week. You know, these things are up and down sort of things. If you want to try and hit your targets each week for your guidelines, such as like your training, your diet recovery, sleep metrics, whatever you want to track, useful stuff. The thing is, you sometimes have to let off the gas a bit. That doesn't mean you let off the gas because you're not trying harder. It's because you're adding a methodical change to reduce the bottleneck that you're experiencing. So when that point when I was eating the food, when the ground beef seemed like a bit too much food, maybe I just need different food choice. So maybe I don't know, chicken thighs for a few meals. Oh, my appetite's back. Just like that. So people have this thing about overhauling everything. When with my clients, I don't know about you. I'd be interested to hear your thoughts actually. But on average, a lot of my clients, I'm probably changing the programs. Say after the first 3 months, when we're sort of going quite steady, sort of thing, we know what we're doing, and maybe every 10 to 12 weeks, maybe like 2 or 3 months, something like that. And even then, it's not like a complete overhaul in most cases. It's like well, your chest is lagging a bit. We've tried this, tried this, tried this. Now let's try increasing the frequency to twice per week. But to manage recovery, we're going to make sure that you do a bit less each time. We're going to start off low. So we're going to start off with maybe technical muscular failure. Then see how it goes. No muscle soreness. Strength's going up. Great. Your pecs feel fuller. Great. Leave it there. If there's a problem like your pecs don't feel fuller and you've done it for 3 weeks, let's go to concentric muscular failure. Yep. Let's add these little things on. But people have this thing, my chest isn't growing, therefore I need to do squats 4 times per week. It's like, why? You just need to improve this one body part by making the right choice at the right time is quite important. That's the experimental side of bodybuilding. That's what bodybuilding is. So I tell people when I'm writing my plan, I say, here's your training plan. You're going to message me in about 2 weeks to say it's not working or some of the exercises don't work. We're not going to know that because you've not implemented the plan yet to discover that. So it's it's a moving target, as my friend Jerome always says. It's all this bodybuilding stuff. You can't, as much as we want to do things the same, so we can get the right measured sort of results and outcomes and things. Our bodies is a biologically dynamic system, which we're always trying to work out when the problem arises. And ideally, we can try and spot it before it does. In most cases, not. Like injuries, if you're going to get injured, it's not. You don't realise that. You don't anticipate it. So by that point, you sort of say, okay, we need to reduce injuries because I know you have a history of having elbow soreness, something like that.
What's your opinion, Jonathan, on full range of motion?
I think it's useful. There's some mixed research about training the muscle, distal muscle lengths, or having a distal head of a muscle group being more lengthened versus not. I think that sort of thing. I think there's a lot of limitations to the studies around that. So it's whatever I say from now is a point of do what you need to do. Don't change it because I've said this. I think that the limitation with the studies is that by default of spending more time within a certain range of motion, you end up controlling the weight more than what you would otherwise. So if I say to you, Mark, I want you to do full range of motion leg press, you're on it, great. Just by me saying that to you, and say you weren't doing it before, hypothetically, say you're just doing leg press, whatever you felt was right, just doing whatever, you're going to by default increase your time and attention. And if these researchers aren't tracking time and attention, weight, volume, recovery, sets, training, diet intake, hydration, time of day, if these controls aren't put in place within that study, the study's worth jack shit. Exactly. It's worth absolute wank. Fuck all. Exactly. So that's why we apply it ourselves. So you say, well, the study sort of indicated that training with full range of motion is good for these body parts, maybe biceps, calves, something like that. Let's implement them into our training routine. And if we notice a bit of growth, maybe half a centimetre over a month or 2 month span that you didn't have before, well, it's helpful. Let's tackle onto this. Let's work with this. If it's not a workable feature because it's not giving you an improvement, buy it off. It's not important. I think ideally, we should train full range of motion. Limitations to that would be if someone's got an injury for me. So say I wanted to get really good at deadlifts relative to my body, my strength, my injuries, but I know my bottleneck is lowering that weight when I drop it on the last, say, 20%. I'm going to work 80% of it because I know that's a safe range of motion. I'm not going to do the last 20% because that could injure me. You see what I mean? So What's your
I'm
take?
the same. I'm the very, very same age. It goes by the person. If someone comes to me injured, I would do the exact same. But I would also look at okay, what's going to get the most benefit out of it? If I keep the tension on the muscle, if I'm going to lockout, like let's say if I do a shoulder press and I'm doing full lockout, like I'm bringing the weight to here and I'm going straight to the top. If I bring the weight to the top, I'm taking the tension off the muscle. If I do complete lockout. So again, it depends on what the person. If the person is new, then I will always advocate full range of motion. If someone is like well advanced, then I would focus more on keeping the tension on the muscle. So I wouldn't focus too much on like going to full range of motion. So I would only go like say 3/4 of the way. So like doing a shoulder press, I'd only go 3/4 of the way. Keep the muscle under constant tension throughout the whole movement. But yeah, if it was a beginner, I would definitely focus on full range of motion.
Yeah, I think there's just more benefit to be having more crossover with other things as well. Like, say I was training a 70-year-old granny. Um, I know she's got dodgy knees. Getting up from the sofa is hard work. Well, let's work with what she's got right now. So we know, okay, maybe her movement side of things isn't great, but we can lock onto the strength aspect. Maybe she starts with just a wall sit, but she's not comfortable at 90 degrees yet with her knees. Knee in relation, femur in relation to her tibia. Maybe we do a bit more. So maybe she's almost standing up, just leaning against the wall.
Yeah.
Maybe that's all she needs.
Yes.
Run that for a week. Oh, it feels easy now. Go a bit lower. Run that for a week. Bit lower. Run that for a week. Oh, it's easy now. Okay, now maybe we can add in some dynamic element to it. So maybe do a bodyweight squat, but her knees are still an issue in that lower portion below the 90-degree bend. So then we sort of say, okay, maybe it's a mobility issue. Maybe we need to work on improved mobility. So might go to the bottom of a squat movement with a bar on our back, maybe a Smith machine bar. And just hang around there, just sit there. Maybe don't do any reps, but maybe just hold it and graduate from there. So now let's just do the bottom 20%.
Yes.
How's that in your back?
Yeah.
Now let's do 30%, 40%. So we've got so much here we can manipulate on our training, and people just want to do that or that. But they forget we have all this stuff in the middle, this grey area stuff to manipulate.
You just need to keep it basic. Just keep it simple. Too many people trying to overcomplicate things. That's all it is.
Bang on. Right. Have we got any more questions, or is that it? If you guys have any questions, you're watching us right now, please just leave them in the chat. We're happy to answer them. Anything about training, carnivore diets, health, motivation, supplements maybe, whatever else. What else you want to discuss, Mark?
Well, what's I'm not. I know. What are you taking supplements at the moment?
Yeah, which ones?
Are you taking
Anabolic ones or
I see
natural?
Are you sponsored by a company now or what?
I'm working with two companies. So one is a company where I get my injectable carnitine from, so that's engineered muscle. I noticed the benefit myself. There's hard science on it. Effectively, carnitine, it's by injecting it, you get a faster result. Is in you inject it within about an hour, you notice a difference. I noticed a difference in how I feel symptomatically from autism. My energy levels are a bit improved from it. Motivation's a bit improved. Basically, it helps feed the mitochondria effectively, so it's a transporter of energy. Long story short, so I find that effective. The other ones I use are Keto Pro electrolytes.
Yeah.
They also have ketone BHB powders as well. I work with Richard Smith quite closely on this sort of thing, so I find a lot of these things are more useful specifically around contest prep, like the last few weeks. Just because as your body gets leaner, your body goes to crap a bit. So need is a subjective term, but it's a way of describing. So I find something helpful which would otherwise not be helpful. So me in the off season, do I need electrolytes? Not really, not very often. But I'm that lean and walking around, and you're tired, sort of thing, and your electrolyte need just goes up because you're pissing all the time. If you've got no body fat, guys, the water you drink just goes straight through you. So you need something almost to bind it up, so you're not just excreting at such a fast rate.
Well, when
insulin's low, electrolytes just get dumped.
Yeah, when I did my bodybuilding last time, when my body fat dropped very, very low, my sodium went really, really high. like really high. Whereas now, my sodium is very, very low. I very, very rarely have sodium on my meats because I just think I don't think I need it, to be honest with you. I'm getting plenty of sodium in the meat that I eat, so I don't add any external salt to it. Whereas when I was very, very lean, I was having a lot of salt, a lot. I could literally have around maybe 8 or 10 grinds per meal easily.
I think we tracked. I was doing about the majority of my last prep, about 12 grams a day of salt.
I
So I
was
just,
the same, rough.
yeah,
I was hooked on the stuff big time. To get those pumps that I needed and get my those contractions in the gym, my sodium had to be high because I felt flat in the gym. And I think this is where people they don't understand when they go on carnivore and they talk about, okay, you lose the contractions, you lose the muscle flatness. Not for me. Like, if anything, my muscles maintained their size all the way up till I stepped on stage because of the amount of salt I was taking in. Whereas you look
I
at these
yeah,
bodybuilders, these were all eating like chunks of carbohydrates to just get a massive pump on the stage. And I was able to maintain these poses with these guys that are filling themselves with like 300 grams of carbohydrates. And all I was having pretty much before I stepped on stage was just a little bit of salt, and I was able to pose no problems.
yeah, I have posing problems nowadays just because my body's a bit bigger and my pain issues are higher. So for me, it's not so much of it's not cramping, it's not electrolytes, it's just sensation in my legs. Can't feel my feet. Like my hamstrings as well, especially the right side, it's hard to lock in, sort of thing. So that's my limitation. But if I talk about like the start of contest prep, I weighed 101.5 kilos. By the time I stepped on stage day, no carb up, guys. I think we did like something like 50 grams of extra fat for about 3 days, something like that. So 150 grams of fat, something like that was my fat load. I competed on stage at 100 kg. So I lost 1.5 kilos in 8 weeks.
Wow.
So my body was growing into the show in a very real and true sense.
Wow.
And obviously, I am enhanced athlete, guys. I'm not saying you can do this naturally at all. Mark's not going to do it if he ever competes again. It's not something which you can just achieve. But it just goes to show, carnivore diet, PEDs or not, um, no no issues of carving up or like filling out the muscle, no extra muscle loss. I'd actually argue probably you retain more muscle because you're sleeping better because you're on a carnivore diet. And if your detox pathways are higher, you're putting different chemicals in your system, fat burners, whatever it is, and you're sleeping a bit better because of carnivore diet. Well, you're going to feel better and train better, so you're going to maintain more muscle or build muscle.
100%.
So it's a juxtaposition. The onus is on the carbohydrate athletes to prove to me that their diet is better than mine, because I've proven the opposite, and I've done that for 4 competitions now, 4 carnivore bodybuilding
Wow.
competitions. So,
You know what? We'll definitely have to do a second part on this because I could talk about this now for all day. But I have a sales call here shortly. But
yeah, no worries.
I would definitely want to talk about that with you because I know we would have a lot to talk about on that.
Yeah, for sure. We've tried different approaches, and I've just found my approach works really well.
Yeah.
So I'm obviously an advocate for what I do, and obviously it's an echo chamber of my own belief system and how I work with clients. But when you just see something repeatedly work, it kind of speaks for itself. It's like
the proof is in the pudding. Just look at you.
yeah,
So
yeah,
nobody can
room
argue.
to work with.
Nobody can argue with it. And like you've achieved, like no, like I'm pretty sure people would have looked at you and said, "Listen, he's never going to be able to walk again." And there you are, like a year later, you've won a bodybuilding competition. You're still in prep at the moment, so it's inspiring, Jonathan. It really is inspiring.
Yeah, I'm gonna do another show early October this year. Not because I need to do it. There's no must for me to do it, but I'm going to do it for fun.
Good.
And I
Good
do
man.
it to piss everyone else off, just to really hammer it home. To say I'm a carnivore bodybuilder. I'm disabled. I'm beating people. Qualifying for nationals 2 years in a row in my position. I think it's fucking obscene. yeah, I'm tooting my own horn, but I think it's fucking obscene. If that was you, I'd be like screaming, like, what the fuck's going on?
Yeah.
Why is this guy, what's
And
going, you know?
And it was like the message that I sent you last week. I'm thinking very, very carefully of going back in and doing it again, because I always said I wouldn't do it again. I said I'd only do just one competition, and it was only for a personal reason. But now it's like, okay, I'm in a country now where nobody talks about carnivore, nobody talks about keto.
Yeah.
People are always telling me that's not possible. So I'm like, okay, maybe I might just go back in and do it and prove everybody wrong.
Yeah, the thing is, your job here, Mark, your only job here is still coming better than you did last time. That is bodybuilding. That is by default what bodybuilding is.
Mm.
Yeah, it's good to win trophies and come first, and you're only as good as your genetics sort of thing. But how can you maximize your
I
genetics?
know,
So for me, I've not got
I,
a classic physique
I
by
know.
traditional standards, but
I know for a fact that I put on more size since I competed last time. I know I did. I just looking at the pictures, I look better, and I know that it's quality muscle. I haven't gained any fats. I haven't eaten any shit. I've been eating this way now
you
for the
still
last 4 years.
quite lean. Yeah,
Yeah, so I'm a lot bigger. I can see my shoulders are getting bigger. I can see my legs getting bigger. My abs are getting thicker. So I know I'm building quality muscle, and I know that I won't need to change too much compared to the last time. Whereas the last time it was like, okay, I had to do this, 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 and this. And I know that last time when I competed, there was so many mistakes that I wouldn't make again. I learned an awful lot from it. And I know how to nail it and do better this time. 100%.
yeah. I think you'd have a better approach this time for sure, and your food intake is very high, which is good. As a bodybuilder, it's always better to have more food. The only limitation of that is if I was a 300-pound bodybuilder sort of thing, turn up on stage like 20 odd stone, carbing up or fat loading would be quite a big problem because it's a lot of food on top of your already a lot of food. Then you're more likely to get bloated, which affects your midsection, which affects your look on stage. So for a lighter individual, a smaller framed individual like yourself, more food is better.
Absolutely.
You know,
Absolutely.
you make a 20-gram drop in fat, pound comes off in a week. Another 20 pound, £2.
Exactly.
It's easy.
Exactly.
Once if you can build your metabolism up, it works much more effectively, I think.
100%. Right, Jonathan, I have to go
Right,
because I have
nice one.
but we'll definitely have to do this again. 100%.
Definitely, yeah. We'll see what the feedback's like anyway. Cheers for coming on, Mark. We'll catch up soon.
See you soon, buddy. Bye-bye.